Hey everyone, and welcome back to Voices of the Soul. We are diving into,
Oh, this is a juicy one.
a Reddit post that I think is going to really resonate with a lot of people.
Mm.
Um, and it's kind of heartbreaking in a way, but also I think has a lot of lessons in it.
Hmm.
So we are looking at a post from the Advice subreddit, and just to set the scene for you,
Okay.
this is a young woman who's 18 years old, and she finally confesses her feelings to her best friend, who is a guy who she has had a crush on for years.
Oh, wow.
And he laughs at her.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's funny because like this simple situation, like confessing your feelings and getting rejected, it's something that like pretty much everyone can relate to in some way.
Yeah.
But I think what makes this particular story so fascinating is that it really unveils so much about the vulnerabilities of putting yourself out there.
Right.
The complexities of navigating the friend zone and also like the power dynamics that can exist, especially in teenage relationships.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that is so interesting, too, is that she starts off by talking about how she has social anxiety
Oh,
and how it's hard for her to connect with people.
okay.
She doesn't have a ton of friends. And so this particular friend, this guy,
Right.
is like the one person that she feels really comfortable around.
Oh, so this is like a really, really big deal for her?
Huge deal for her.
Yeah.
And you think about that, like that isolation.
Yeah.
It makes sense that this friendship would mean so much to her.
It's everything to her, I bet. And to
Yeah.
actually confess her feelings, knowing that she could lose that,
Right.
that takes a lot of courage.
Oh, it's huge. And to add another layer to all of this, she's had a crush on him since sixth grade.
Oh my God.
So we're talking like years
That's a long time.
of like carrying this around.
Yeah.
And she mentions that her parents are always asking her why she doesn't have a boyfriend.
Oh, so there's that added pressure.
That external pressure,
Yeah.
which just like adds to the pressure cooker of what's going on.
So she's getting it from all sides.
Yeah. And she makes it very clear that she doesn't just want any boyfriend.
Right.
She wants him.
Okay. Yeah.
So she finally decides to take the plunge.
Mm.
She confesses her feelings.
Mm.
And instead of, reciprocating those feelings or, even letting her down gently, he just laughs at her.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, the laughter is so
Yeah.
I mean, on the surface, it just seems so insensitive, especially given, her vulnerability and her social anxiety.
And in the context of their relationship, and,
Yeah.
and some of the commenters are furious. They're like, what a jerk.
Yeah, I bet.
He's not a true friend.
Yeah.
Um, but then other commenters were like, well, maybe he was just nervous.
Right.
Maybe it was a defense mechanism.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we often make assumptions about people's intentions based on their outward behavior.
Yeah.
But, sometimes those behaviors are masking something deeper.
Totally insecurity or anxiety.
Yeah.
So his laughter could have been, a way to distance himself from the situation, just a knee-jerk reaction
Yeah.
to feeling overwhelmed.
And I think it's important to remember, too, that we are talking about teenagers.
Oh, yeah. You're not exactly known for their emotional maturity.
There are still, their emotional landscapes are still under construction.
Right.
And so their reactions might not always be what we would consider mature or socially appropriate.
Yeah. Adolescence is a time of like intense self-discovery
Yeah.
and social experimentation, and those experiments don't always go smoothly.
No.
It's messy, it's awkward, and sometimes it's just downright painful.
Yeah. And speaking of painful, this Reddit saga takes a dramatic turn with her update,
Oh,
which completely changes how we see everything that happened.
okay. I'm intrigued now.
So she updates her original post, and it is a bombshell.
Oh, wow. Lay it on me.
So she reveals that she did talk to him, hoping to at least salvage their friendship.
But instead of apologizing for laughing at her, he doubled down
Oh, no.
with some really cruel remarks,
Oh, gosh.
including an ethnic slur.
Oh, that's just awful.
Yeah, so this is where I think it crosses the line
Yeah,
from immaturity to something much darker.
absolutely. I mean, his initial laughter, you could maybe chalk it up to nerves or awkwardness, but using hurtful language like that, especially an ethnic slur,
Yeah.
that reveals a deeper level of prejudice and disrespect
Right.
that can't be excused.
And the comment section, which was initially kind of divided between, people supporting her and people saying, well, maybe he was just nervous,
Yeah.
totally shifted after this update.
Oh, I bet.
People were outraged. They were validating her pain and her anger.
Rightfully so.
And a lot of people were saying she dodged a bullet.
It's interesting how this kind of highlights the power of collective validation online.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when someone shares a vulnerable experience and then they see this outpouring of support
Right.
from a larger group, it can be so empowering.
Yes.
And in this case, that empathy from the commenters, it not only affirmed her feelings, but it also exposed the true nature of this guy's character.
Absolutely. And it also shows how these online spaces can hold people accountable,
Right.
in ways that maybe offline interactions don't.
Mm-hmm.
There's this sense of, collective morality at play.
Yeah, it's like online justice,
Right.
where users band together to call out injustice and support the victim.
And it can be a really powerful force for positive change.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always perfect, of course,
Right.
but in this case, it seems to have served a valuable purpose.
One comment that really stood out to me that I saw a lot of people repeating
Okay.
was, you may have lost a friend, but at least you know who he really is.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can focus on finding people who will treat you with respect.
That's so important, especially for, someone navigating the ups and downs of teenage relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, it reframes rejection as a form of liberation.
Yes.
The chance to break free from a toxic connection
Right.
and prioritize self-respect.
Yeah. And it's like that saying, sometimes you have to lose the wrong people to find the right ones.
Exactly.
And in this case, that loss, even though it was painful, it revealed a truth that ultimately empowers her to move forward.
Absolutely. And it makes you think about the role of online advice in situations like this.
Right.
I mean, the internet can be a valuable resource for support,
Yeah.
but it's important to remember that not all advice is created equal.
Right. And some of the commenters were giving like practical tips like, try to talk to him or just give it some time.
Right.
But then there were other comments that were like, well, let's just say not so helpful.
Oh, I'm curious.
One comment that sparked a lot of debate
Okay.
was the suggestion that she should wear a hot outfit chosen by her dad
Like her dad picks out the outfit.
to make the boy jealous.
Oh my gosh.
And that kind of advice is a little bit,
Yeah, that's a little iffy.
yeah, because it's manipulative.
Yeah.
And it also reinforces the idea that a woman's worth is tied to her appearance.
Exactly. And it brings up the whole ethical consideration of giving advice online,
Yes.
especially on sensitive topics like this.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the anonymity of the internet.
Right. You can say things you might not say to someone's face.
Totally.
And sometimes the advice is more about the advice giver, wanting to feel good about themselves
Yeah.
than actually helping the person.
It's a good reminder that we should always approach online advice with a critical eye.
Absolutely. You got to think about the source, the context,
Right.
and whether the advice aligns with your own values and goals.
Totally. So what started as this kind of straightforward rejection story
Right.
turned into this complex exploration of teenage emotions,
Yeah.
social dynamics, the power of online communities, and even the ethics of digital advice giving.
It's amazing how these online spaces can become like microcosms of
Yeah.
human experience.
Yeah.
You get these glimpses into the joys, the struggles,
Yeah.
and just the complexities of navigating life in the digital age.
And I think this deep dive wouldn't be complete without acknowledging the amazing insight
Oh, you're too kind.
and expertise that you've brought to the table today.
Well, it's been a fascinating conversation.
If you're enjoying this episode and you want more thought-provoking content like this, be sure to subscribe to Voices of the Soul.
And for even more insightful content, check out the Shauna Pollard YouTube channel.
You'll find tons of videos there exploring personal growth relationships and all the complexities of navigating life in the digital world.
It's a great resource.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep those conversations going
Keep exploring.
and keep exploring those voices that resonate with your soul. It really makes you think, huh?
It does. It's amazing how these like personal stories shared online can resonate with so many people. They
Right.
tap into these like universal experiences
Yeah.
and spark all these conversations about like vulnerability and empathy.
Right, and in this story in particular, it took so many twists and turns. Like, we started out focusing on the rejection itself.
Mm.
The awkwardness and the hurt.
Right, the sting of unrequited love.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But then with that update, everything shifted.
Yeah, the focus went beyond just this one girl's experience.
Right, it became about, like,
Teenage friendships.
right, and the difference between immaturity and harmful behavior.
Yeah, and the power of online communities,
To validate people.
and hold people accountable.
Yeah, it's like we went on this journey alongside her.
We did.
We started with empathy, then we were kind of grappling with the Is the guy a jerk or is he just awkward?
Yeah, those ambiguities.
And then we were like outraged
Totally.
when we found out what he really did.
And along the way, we were exposed to so many different perspectives, not just from the Reddit comments, but also our own internal dialogues.
Yeah, we had to think about our own experiences with rejection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And our own beliefs about online communities.
It's crazy how these seemingly isolated incidents can spark these bigger conversations
It's true.
and make us think about our own values and beliefs.
So as you've listened to this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's resonated with you the most?
Has it made you think differently about your own experiences with rejection?
Or online communities, or even how you give and receive advice online?
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode, so feel free to share your takeaways in the comments.
Or reach out to us on social media.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive,
And want more thought-provoking content.
be sure to subscribe to Voices of the Soul.
And for even more insightful content, check out the Shauna Palaj YouTube channel.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
Keep those conversations going and keep exploring those voices that resonate with your soul.